Golgotha, the site where Jesus Christ was crucified. Golgotha, also known as Calvary, is traditionally understood to be the hill outside Jerusalem where Christ bore the weight of the world's sins. The name Golgotha itself means the place of the skull, a term that evokes powerful imagery and deep symbolism. First, let's consider the physical shape of Golgotha. Descriptions and historical accounts often suggest that the hill resembled a human skull. This physical resemblance is not merely a coincidence but a divine metaphor laden with meaning. The skull, the very structure that encases our brain, is a powerful symbol. It represents the seat of human consciousness, intellect, and the mind. When we think about Christ's crucifixion on Golgotha, we are invited to see beyond the literal event and to contemplate its deeper spiritual implications. The physical crucifixion was a historical event of immense significance, but its spiritual counterpart occurs within the human mind. Just as Golgotha is the place of the skull, the true crucifixion of Christ takes place within our consciousness. Christ's journey to Golgotha, carrying his cross, symbolizes the spiritual journey each of us must undertake. The cross represents the burdens and struggles we carry in our lives. The hill of Golgotha, representing the skull, signifies the ultimate battleground where this spiritual struggle reaches its climax, within our minds. In Christian mysticism, the mind is seen as the field of spiritual warfare. It is where our thoughts, emotions, and desires clash, often leading to inner turmoil and suffering. Christ's crucifixion within the skull symbolizes the transformation that must occur within us. His suffering and death represent the dissolution of the ego, the false self, and the triumph of the divine nature within us. Bill Donahue, a contemporary spiritual teacher, often speaks about the crucifixion as an inner process. He emphasizes that the story of Jesus is not just a historical account but a metaphor for the spiritual awakening that happens within each of us. When Christ is crucified within our minds, it signifies the death of our lower nature and the resurrection of our higher, divine self. The Apostle Paul echoes this sentiment in his letters, particularly in Romans 12 verse 2, where he writes, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." This renewal of the mind is the essence of the crucifixion at Golgotha. It is the process of shedding old, limiting beliefs and embracing a higher consciousness rooted in love, compassion, and divine wisdom. Moreover, the symbolism of Golgotha extends to the collective consciousness of humanity. The skull, as a universal symbol, represents not only individual transformation but also the collective awakening of humanity. Just as Christ was crucified for the sins of the world, a collective awakening requires a crucifixion of old paradigms, prejudices, and divisions that keep us separated from each other and from our true divine nature. In conclusion, the crucifixion at Golgotha is a profound spiritual allegory. It invites us to look within ourselves, to recognize the inner Golgotha where the battle for our soul takes place. It calls us to crucify the false self and to rise with Christ into a new, enlightened state of being. As we meditate on the symbolism of Golgotha, may we find the courage to embark on this inner journey, allowing Christ to be crucified within our minds, leading us to resurrection and true spiritual liberation. Thanks for listening. Nathaniel.